Let's see. I should really be keeping track of who's doing recap, and I should offer inspiration for it. I think I'm going to start doing that. Does anyone want to do it today and get inspiration for the session?
You assume I remember what happened last time.
I would, but I legitimately don't remember what happened.
I just listened to the episodes the day, like, I listened to the last session during my morning of Thursday morning, so I remember.
As I recall, we started off the session with the fight against Sanballat and his crew.
Mm-hmm.
Captured 3 of them, including Sanballat, or 4 of them?
3.
3, including Sanballat. The hobgoblins did not make it again. Might need to look into those tendencies.
We still have hobgoblin armor to sell, by the way, 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
We took them over to Craddock, I believe is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Craddock Stonehorn.
And then...
You can't distract me.
Sorry, I just remembered that. If you want, I can help.
Oh, I can help and
Okay.
input things. We met up with our 2 new recruits after a bumpy boat ride.
Yes.
And then after Craddock, we went to the council hall, I believe, to meet up with the guy we got the job from because we figured there's a better choice than trying to meet him at his house. Edda, I believe, helped us get all the stuff off the ship and back to the council hall.
Mm-hmm.
They discovered the weapons were stolen from the prison, or the ones missing from there. We suspect there's some inside job. And then we went back, and it seems like our new friends knew how to sail the ship a lot better than we did.
Correct.
Yara roped Grynar into helping her set up a training room.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yumi went around asking people for their favorite colors. Did I miss anything?
We finally met the major because of that.
Oh, right. Before all of that, though. Yup was hitting people. No, something we forgot. Yup was hitting people with
defenseless, tied up people.
Yeah, and one of them escaped.
It was
temporarily
a not particularly well-controlled experiment.
But that was what led to the training room. Yeah.
Yep. And there's a very good possibility that a lot of the people who've been PMing me ideas for what they wanted to do this session are the 2 people who aren't here today, so that's interesting.
I knew a lot of things I wanted to do this session.
Yes, you have a lot of things you'd like to do. Yumi, what would you like to do this session?
At some point, I would like to go and sell off the hobgoblin armor, because I don't think any of us are using that. Because Griner has better armor and no one else wears heavy armor.
Are they in heavy?
They're chainmail.
Oh.
That should make us a little bit of money. And then Yumi wants to buy a lot of things for arts and craft in the tower.
Okay. Which is, I think it's so funny that you remembered that, after the end of last session when you all made it back home. So it's basically this is basically the equivalent of
I forgot the
li-
milk.
yeah, like living outside of town and having to drive into town to get anything, and having to do that 3 times in a day. Um,
See, I remember
So,
that before
my
we got back
life.
to the tower, but I'm pretty sure I didn't put the armor on the boat, so we'd still be at the tower anyways.
mhm. Yeah, that's yep. um, so before we like theoretically go back into town, is there anything that needs to still happen at the lighthouse, or other things people plan to do in town, interactions that you'd like to do before that happens?
At the lighthouse, I would like to know how Abernathy is doing with our 2 new friends and their contracts.
Okay. In his office, he is still going over the paperwork with Tobias and Micah, and the two of them express some concern to you uh, that they might get ratted out by the people that you have arrested. Because even if you guys are their new employers, they still did crime. So Micah just says, "So is there something we could be doing that might prevent us from getting caught, or should we just confess and see if maybe we can, like, I don't know, maybe list off a couple other names? I don't really know what we should be doing in this situation."
Well, I don't think you should list off other names, just in case they get upset and try to go after your family.
I would not be too worried about getting ratted out, given that they don't know you're here with us, do they? Like, they had already left for this lighthouse beforehand.
The guys that we arrested and sent back like saw them get off the boat with us or get on the boat with us. Either one.
No,
That even
'cause we
that or
unloaded them in town and picked up these two afterward.
I distinctly remember the DM saying that they saw us.
mhm.
But also, even if they didn't, they could just list a bunch of names of other people who weren't working that day, who were also bandits in hope of getting a lighter sentence.
Exactly, and that's the concern that these two have.
Perhaps we can talk to Firebrand about um, them working for us as community service and turning over a new leaf.
And how long were you working for them?
On and off jobs. I've been working with the organization 4 years, something like that.
Hmm.
Tobias, were you longer than you've been there a bit longer? And he nods. But again, we're not initiated members of the Brotherhood. We're just
Muscle?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Brotherhood?
Yeah. Um it's a little it gets a little fuzzy because again, we're not like full members, but there's a couple members who we bump into a couple of different times, like Sanbolet, who mentioned um what did they call it? The Scarlet Brotherhood, I think? The Red Brotherhood? Something like that.
That sounds ominous.
I mean, it does, but when you're kind of poor and the job is just lift things from one boat to another, and don't get shot, it's you don't really ask questions.
Granar says, "Oh, I'm not judging. I mean, I've done some shifty jobs in the past for sure, but been a mercenary too."
Right.
Well, we can look into this Scarlet Brotherhood, and if there's something that we can do about it, perhaps your having provided us information will be taken into account should any sort of legal trouble become an issue.
Okay.
Oh, right. We have lawyers, right? And you may look at Abernathy, like people to take care of our legal issues.
Sort of. The amount of folks we have on retainer are rather limited because as the law works in Saltmarsh, your representation is yourself. You have counseling, but you do not. That counsel does not come with you into the courtroom.
Interesting.
They're very private affairs that are almost exclusively handled with the council members and yourself. Very private.
Well, we'll try our best, and if not, like he said, we have counseling for you if it comes down to it.
If we were to, I mean, we can't live here. I've got, my family to go home to. If we were to get, maybe, if we were to be ratted out and maybe arrested at home, how do we, if we tell them that we're working with you guys, is that gonna get you guys in trouble, do you think? Or is that what we should do?
You could do that. Maybe we'll go into town and talk to Firebrand before anything happens first.
Okay. That works. And with that, they finish their application, their they finish their paperwork.
Does anybody remember what we agreed to pay them a day?
Nope.
I figured Abernathy would write that up in the paperwork.
Yeah, I figured they were getting basically the same.
Yumi will look to Abernathy. It's like, how much are they getting paid a day?
Well, these two are actually rather skilled. Not what I would say. What is it? Not skilled in the in a craft sense, but they all can. These two can sail better than the two of you, other than a lot of you. The going rate starts at 2 gold per day.
Yumi will look at them. Is that okay for you guys?
Yeah, that's not far off from what we were earning before. It's fine. And it's not crime, so you're not gonna have the potential to get arrested for it.
Lovely then, it sounds like we have a deal.
We just have to make sure that they don't get a.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, what next?
Are you headed into town, Yumi?
A nice little area for myself. Oh, what? Sorry, did I cut out?
Yeah.
I said I needed to pick up some things to set up a nice little area for myself.
Would you like some company?
Oh, sure, that would be great.
Okay, gentlemen, back to the turtle shell.
They get their things and head out. And I don't think I made explicit mention, but these two are definitely human. And the more that you guys are spending, the more time you are spending around Saltmarsh, the more you are noticing that a good 70+% of the population is human.
Fantastic.
And then a lot of dwarves, almost no elves, and then a vague mix of other things, like other types. in very small percentages. Zashel and Griner, are you interested in going into town or no?
I am. First, I would like to round up Sunny and Missy. I didn't think of their names. Zashel just wants to have a quick meeting with the two of them.
Okay. Sunny is trying to do some form of groundskeeping, and then Missy is doing housekeeping. But they meet with you in the kitchen.
I just wanted to speak to the two of you. I know we are new here, and somehow, even though we are new, we are still technically above you in the franchise hierarchy, which is strange. But I just wanted to apologize for the events of yesterday. I'm the one who largely created the situation where they came to the lighthouse, and that was... I didn't think, and because of my rash action, I mean, you all were held hostage in your own homes. There's a certain amount of violation there. And so that's the sort of thing I joined Acquisitions Incorporated to prevent, and yet here I am causing it. So, I apologize.
They're both very quiet, and Sunny has like his arm on Missy's shoulder, and she's kind of leaning into him. She seems definitely more shaken of the two. She in your little encounters with her in the past, she is flighty, and the hostage situation did not appear to ease that at all. And Sunny just says, I mean, I signed on to be an intern with the intent to eventually become a hero and an adventurer. So I'm not really that put out. I just probably should have had. I mean, I think Miss Kiara has a stone of far speech that theoretically could have been used to maybe warn us ahead of time, but I mean, I don't really know. I wasn't there, so I don't know if that was really an option. But we're okay. We're okay, right? And Missy just quietly nods.
I appreciate the facade, I suppose. I'm glad you're okay, but the error is still on my part. So, if there is anything I can ever do, please let me know.
He nods and says, well, "We appreciate it, Mr. Zashel, but we should be fine."
The offer stands. We'll be going into town. We'll be taking me, Micah, and Toby. I feel like I should have written down their names at some point. If there's anything you need,
You got
it. You know. And give a little nod and then leave.
All right. Okay. Let's just drop you back onto Saltmarsh.
Yeah, during the boat ride, Yumi will approach Zashel and say, I'm glad you're here. I'm not the best with words. So I was wondering if you could help with talking to Eleander about our new friends and not having them arrested.
Of course. I think it was my decision, my idea for them to join us in the first place, so...
Well, I was very on board with that idea as well, so I will help how I can.
I definitely think it was an easier and more mutually beneficial decision than the Hobgoblin situation, but hopefully we can persuade Firebrand to see some reason here.
While this is going on, Yop is barking out orders to Micah and Toby about how to sail the turtle shell.
About halfway through, and at this point, the weather is starting to settle. The tides and the waves are still pretty rough, uh, but at one point, Toby just, "We know," and then goes back to work. Just so you know, Ted, Monkey, I definitely was just, I don't know if you caught it, but it was also implying she has the persuasion skill, so she will be able to help you with any skill checks in that direction as well.
Got it.
Yep. Okay. And because the weather is lightening up and you have 2 skill workers, your typical hour or so, hour or longer sail ends up only taking 45 minutes. And then you are docked. You have paid for your docking for the day. So you as long as you just check in with the wharf master to let them know you're ported, that's not really that big of a deal. And then do you go right to the council hall, or do you do other things first?
Yumi, is your business besides Firebrand?
The rest of my
Cool.
business is just going to the merchants, so it shouldn't take long. We can go there afterwards. Or it might take long, so we can go afterwards.
Either way, I assume Firebrand will be available when the stores might have closed. Don't know what time it is.
It is early afternoon.
I think I'd want to get that done first and, off my conscience.
Fair enough.
Okay.
To Firebrand we go.
All right. Due to proximity and also his likelihood of him being there over his own home, you head to the council hall. And sure enough, he is actually there, and he is talking with a couple members of the city guard. When you enter, and he dismisses them, and looks a little frustrated and maybe a little defeated when you enter, and says, You're back again. Is there something I can help you with?
We would like to discuss with you the situation between the prisoners we brought you earlier today and several of our new associates at Acquisitions Incorporated Lighthouse franchise. Saltmarsh franchise.
He gives you a very puzzled look and says, Go on, and he gestures to the couple of chairs in the room.
I will sit down.
Yumi will also sit down.
Yop will stand quietly in the back of the room.
As I'm sure you're aware, the organization from which the 3 prisoners came is going to be larger than just those 3, and the ones that we were forced to dispatch. As it stands, during our attempt to bring in Sanballat and his group, we actually, how to put this delicately, hired away a pair of his associates rather than have to combat them at all.
He nods. Interesting. Wise.
We were concerned, or they were concerned rather, that the 3 smugglers that we have, or that you now have in your prisons, might roll over on them, and that could cause problems for them with the law. And we are hoping that by coming to you now, and indicating the help that we have received from them, both in our own franchise endeavors, but also in the search for the root cause of this smuggling operation, that we could reassure them that legal troubles can be smoothed over.
Hmm.
Yes, we figured that we would give them a chance to find an occupation that was more legal because there is limited work in the city and they were mostly muscle, so weren't too highly involved in
Labor muscle, not
labor
protection
muscle.
muscle.
Yes. They weren't too involved in the scheming and the other questionable acts besides needing a job.
I see. Well, from my position, the law is the law, and I'd very much like if your associates would come forward, and I'd make it easier than having to track them down. But from what you say, I don't see it unreasonable. In Salt Marsh, I believe you, and he gestures to Yumi, might be a little bit more familiar, but I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of you are less so. Our judicial system operates through the council members, and we determine, based on the cases presented by the victims of a criminal act, and then the information provided by the criminal themselves in their own plea, whether or not the type of sentencing that they deserve. Oftentimes, one of three things happens: either they are set with a fee, some sort of payment that they're required to make. If this is a small crime, often thievery or even some small amounts of violent crime fall into this category. And if they cannot afford that, they can work it off in community service. Likewise, oftentimes, the jail time for higher crimes can be worked through community service, but it again depends on the severity. It sounds like by what you've said that these two might be able to plea to a lighter sentencing with the possibility of community service as an available sentence, as punishment. But if I might not be the one who would be assigned to their case, and if whoever is assigned to their case disagrees, then I will not be able to assist.
Might I ask what kind of community service and the hours of such that are usually given to people?
It can be a number of things. Sometimes it depending on the capabilities of the individual. Sometimes they are sent to be monitored. Well, they are sent to act as watchmen of a fashion on the roads or near the woods with a number of guards to. They are sent to assist a patrol, more or less, working as an honorary guard without pay. And there's also the orphanage that often needs repairs, other buildings that, through weathering, public structures that need repairs after storms. That's very common. Working at the temple is also an available option. Working land. Very rarely do we send anyone who has pled for community service. Do we ever send them to work as like a dock hand or as a mariner, because very quickly they can flee the rest of their whatever remains of their required service time.
Okay. Yumi's gonna look to Zasha and it's like, could we cover a bit and get back to you?
Naturally,
Sir,
we would need to discuss this with the individuals in question.
Oh, something else before that. And she will drag Zasha to a corner of the office. And ask, like, is this something we would be willing to pay their bail up front and have them work it off with us? Because it sounds like if they do community service, they can't work for us, and, well, then we'd be
Um,
outstaffed. And also, they wouldn't be getting paid, and that might lead them back to smuggling.
I agree. I understand your point. It sounds like we would not necessarily have any say in that, but if their punishment was a fine, I would almost certainly be inclined to either pay it ourselves or see if the head office will cover it for reimbursement later.
Yeah. I guess we'll go back to Firebrand and ask him if it is a fine, is it possible for us to pay it off instead of the people being fined?
there are a number of folks who have taken that deal and then went out and received loans and handled it that way. Yes, but again, it depends on the severity of the crime and how it is ruled as a severe crime. Because if it's a petty crime, then a fine is all that they may be required. But if it's something more severe, and if the council who is in charge of their case, the council members who are ruling their case, agree that it is more severe, they will have not only a fee if that is part of their deal, but will also have a required other element to their sentencing.
Okay. And should we just see if they're okay to come here, then do we just bring them here to the council hall?
I think it might be better if you had them check in with Craddock at the jailhouse. That might be more appropriate. And the truth is that there is a very good chance that they might have to spend a night or two in a cell until things are until um, until we can be sure that we have someone ready to prepared to take their case. And I have to admit, now that you've brought this to my attention, it is my duty to ensure that these two, however, I believe you mentioned that there were two, these two are in some fashion brought into custody.
My only concern with bringing them to that particular establishment is the weapons that were removed from that place were among the goods that this group was smuggling. I feel like if we were to bring them there, their lives would be at risk. Whatever source was secreting those weapons out of that guardhouse would almost certainly want to make sure that they were unable to testify to anything, regardless of how much or how little they might know.
Perhaps you could reprimand them to our custody until such time as there's a trial.
As much as I appreciate that offer, the private organization versus the public organization is frankly that difference is concerning. But I think you're right that if that is something that they are concerned with, and that is something that you are concerned with, I should also find concern with this. That being the case, perhaps I can see what I can do about maybe having them housed at either my own estate or one of the homes of one of the other council members until such time as is appropriate. And at this point, it feels only decent that I offer my own home first, because at this point I don't believe that I will be allowed to take their case, and the fewer people who are associated, the fewer members of the council who are associated with them prior to their ruling, the better. Is that a comfortable situation for you?
Um, I think that sounds good. Could we go talk to them and confirm? And if that's fine, we'll bring them here and then you can take them back to your estate?
Or should we simply bring them to your estate when your time here this evening is complete?
Yes, bring them in the evening. That should be appropriate.
You'll have to describe where your estate is. I don't believe I have been there yet.
I have been there.
Well then.
Yep. It is
he
the library as well.
mhm. He gives you a brief description. He says it is on the farthest western point of the city. It overlooks the cliff. It's hard to miss.
We have it labeled because there's a label for council hall.
Yep.
Wait, were you making the labels or are we making these labels?
Uh,
So far,
I
I've been making the labels.
yeah. I'm like there are a couple on here that I don't remember putting, so I assume that it's you guys.
Yeah.
No, we were
basically,
the ones that were labeling them.
right,
Mhm.
as they come up in
Because I-
game, because
'cause
I
I
have
wrote-
no memory, I type them in.
That's why I wrote Venus and large ass words across it for no apparent reason.
Well, that was at the house, which was a little bit different. Like, here we go.
I mean, same difference.
Okay. I'm just making the text a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. That is.
Just one more thing before we leave. Are you familiar with either the name the Scarlet Brotherhood or the Red Brotherhood? The names come up in our investigation of the Ghost of the Sea.
Roll an insight check. Okay. He looks confused and baffled. And just very plainly he says, "No, neither of those names sound at all familiar, and I've been a serviceman of Keolan for my entire life, and that name has never come up."
Okay, well, there's no saying that it's definitely attached. There's, lots of ins and outs, lots of ups and downs. Best
Well,
leave no stone unturned, though.
certainly, and if that's something that is in some fashion associated with your investigations of this smuggling ring, absolutely keep me in the loop.
Will do.
I assume both the confession and then any assistance these individuals might be providing to us in our investigation will both be taken into account in their sentencing.
Yes, if they themselves, within their presentation of their plea, they are allowed to bring in any sort of documentation, verifiable information. If there is something that you could say to them, letters or perhaps some records affirming their employment and such, that would all help them dearly, I think.
All right. Well, we'll have to go back home to get the contract, but we can bring you a copy of those in the morning.
Certainly fine. And
We just need to make sure that they have a copy whenever they come in.
Well, we're dropping them off tonight, aren't we? Because we are
Oh, fair enough.
not really able to keep them.
They're not pets.
I mean, keep them out of custody. Because they should be in custody as soon as possible from what this conversation came about. Yeah.
There is
Mom, can we keep it?
There's one
Listen,
small
I just-
problem.
There was somebody.
Well, there's two small problems. One is, what do we do about their families if they're going to be held at the Firebrand estate? And two, who sails us back to the lighthouse if they're going to be held at the Firebrand estate?
I mean, we manage badly, but we managed the first time
Well,
around
I've
without
learned
them.
quite a bit in our last 2 trips.
Yop, is this something that you're discussing still, like, in the room, or is this as you guys are leaving?
Yop's probably doing it in the room, but as we're leaving. Like, you probably had the idea not to talk about it in front of Firebrand, but
Mhm.
couldn't quite execute that fully.
Okay. Then he will not interject.
Alright.
But that does mean the rest of you have to answer the question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed what the
I
question
mean-
was. What are we doing with their family?
A, what are we doing with their families? And B, who's sailing the ship back?
Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I could take from my personal fund and give their family a little bit of money for the week while they're in custody, and hopefully it doesn't take longer than a week. If
We
it does,
have-
we're gonna need more money. I'm gonna need more money.
We have several hours before we have to drop them off, and obviously we have to have this conversation with them.
We can
We
talk to them,
could
have them
take
talk
them to their
family,
families. Exactly.
and leave them a little bit of money for them to survive within the next few days while they're in custody, and figure out the rest as we go.
Seems reasonable.
Sounds like a plan to me.
We could also leave the ship here and stay in one of the inns rather than need to sail back.
Oh,
Although
true.
paperwork.
But we do
Um,
eventually need to get back and get paperwork. I mean, we could leave the ship here, get a rowboat, and roll ourselves back.
Another option as well, just so you guys know, is going to the Mariners Guild Hall and hiring a sailor
A
or
boat.
two.
But that's more staff I'll get attached to.
I'm just putting it
hire. They're temps. Don't get attached to the temps.
But Sunny and
They're temp-
Missy's are temps, and we're getting
No, they're
attached to
interns.
them.
No, they're interns. They're not.
They're not
temps.
temps. They're interns.
Ah, well, Huey doesn't know the difference.
All right. When you put it that way, okay. Fair
Aren't
enough.
interns just temporary workers until they find a real job?
But, I mean, no, an intern is
No.
like a permanent part of your organization, whereas the temps you hire for a specific task, and then once the task is done, they're gone. I mean, they don't like vanish or anything like that. Although, with
I mean,
our
we could.
track record.
At this fucking rate is basically what happens.
All right, let's head back into town.
While we are at the council house, I will pull out a piece of copper wire and wrap it around one of my ears, and I will cast message to Edda.
You cut out to who you're sending it to.
To Edda.
Okay.
Copper something.
Etta
Copperlock. Nope.
Etta Oland.
Oland.
Yeah. Manistrad Copperlocks.
I don't remember who Manistrad Copperlocks is. She's a dwarf. That's about all I got.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yep.
matter.
She's another council member.
I think I only get 25 words for this.
You can cast it over and over again as it's just a cantrip.
Yes, but it's also how they respond.
True.
Actually, it just says whisper a message that the target can hear.
Yeah, I think sending is only
Sending.
25
Yeah, sending
words.
is the one.
Message, you can
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
If she's not within 120 feet, the spell fails to begin with.
Yes. Which you know how the spell works, so you know when it does and doesn't work, and it will work.
Edda, this is Zashel from Acquisitions Incorporated. I was hoping I could get a copy of the complete inventory of the goods we brought you for my report. You can respond.
We
Like-
respond to this message.
A light pause, and she just says, "Not a problem. Are you in the hall right now?"
I will cast
And-
message again and say, yes.
And after a second, her door opens and she waves.
Oh, hello.
Hello there.
I apologize. I was unsure if you had anyone in your office or where you were exactly. So
No, I actually appreciate the tendency to privacy. Although I will say, truthfully, would have been a little bit difficult, I think, to hold a conversation with someone else in the room with a little voice in my head. Now you wanted a copy of the list of inventory, correct?
Correct.
All right, give me one moment. She goes back into her office, she's gone for a moment, and then comes back out with a loose leaf sheet of paper with a scribbled inventory, which reads the 8 bolts of silk, the 13 casks of goldenwood brandy, which she has in parentheses, 5 in possession of the council hall, 8 in possession of Acquisitions Incorporated, and 6
Can you,
long
like,
swords.
message this to me or something, because there's no way I'm going to keep up.
Okay, 6 long swords and 6 short swords. Propriety of the crown. Let's see.
Just whenever. It's not.
I'm just gonna do it right now because I'm already doing it. um. And then. There you go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And that was everything, right?
Mhm. That was
track.
all the things that you brought to them, which was everything. And just double checking that the horde reads appropriately. Yes, it does.
I thought I took those notes somewhere, but then I couldn't find them in my documents list.
Mm. She just says that after handing it over, anything else I might be able to do for you, or have you all figured out what it is you're doing about these smugglers and this ghost of the sea or something that I hear tell about from Meliander?
We have plans in the works for that.
Excellent. Well, if
This
you need
is-
any help, I'm more than willing to offer any of my own vessels. I own a small number of ships, fishing ships myself, and a couple of crew members. Might be able to send you out with some assistance and some extra hands if you ever need it.
I appreciate the offer. We might take you up on that.
Certainly.
For now, this is all I needed. Thank you very much.
As long as you're here, just one question. Have you
Yes.
ever heard of the Scarlet Brotherhood or the Red Brotherhood? We're trying to find out if it's connected at all to the Ghost of the Sea.
I'll let you roll another insight check if you'd like. She has a very similar expression to Eleander,
Mhm.
and says, "I have heard of something called the Brotherhood, but only in passing. I'm not. I like to keep my nose clean. I'm not about. I'm not about smuggling. Lots of sailors around here don't mind it, but I all of the men I employ have to be above board, so I don't know anything about it."
Oh, I have no doubt. We're just trying to figure out if this is a false lead or something we should investigate further. And, any information that may come to your ears, if you find any, that would be lovely to share with us, and we will certainly do the same.
I appreciate that offer. Yes, if I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Why, thank you.
Any final questions for her?
Off to town then?
No questions for me. Yep, off to town.
All right,
No question for me either.
cool. To Winston's, the general store. That's a hike and a half from the council hall. All right, Yumi, what were you all doing? Did you want to sell the armor so you had money?
Go back to the boat first and take those guys to their families? Or are we doing that afterwards?
Up to you guys.
I think we should do any of the shopping sort of stuff first so that we have the
First?
money
Okay.
if necessary. Also
Mhm.
because since they don't have to be there until late, it's probably best to just do it all at once.
That's probably a good idea. Yep, off to the shops then.
Are you selling your armor first? Or do you want to do your shopping first?
Armor first, probably, because we have to lug that around.
Mhm.
I can summon the floating disc if we just want to pile everything on there.
It
We also have
happens.
Are you going to try and sell the armor at the general store or at the Dwarven Anvil?
Probably whoever makes armor in the city.
The armor, the
Dwarven
blacksmith,
Anvil. Okay.
Mhm. Which is just around the corner from the council hall, so that's actually not a hike at all. And not very far to carry the armor. Okay.
In
and
addition to the hobgoblin stuff, we also have the stuff that we took from the bandits that we actually did, or the smugglers that we actually did kill before we made our deal with Sam Millett. Some scimitars, crossbows, short swords, bows, 2 longbows, leather armor. That's all from before we made the deal with Sam Millett.
Mhm. Yeah,
Unless
you can
anybody
sell.
wants any of that stuff. Doesn't sound like it.
All right. You guys comfortable with selling at half cost, or are you gonna try to? Are you gonna try to?
Yeah, I'm
talk
comfortable.
about- All right. So what was the? What was? How much of what was? How much was of what was what? You had 3 sets of chainmail, right?
Is that from the hobgoblins?
Mhm.
2 scimitars, 2 light crossbows, 3 short swords, 2 longbows, unless somebody wants the longbow. I don't know if you want to back up, Yumi.
I think I'm okay.
Then we have 3 sets of leather armor, and that's everything from the smugglers
Okay.
at the start.
All right. Light crossbows are 25 at cost, so half is rounding down. 14, right? No, not 14.
12.
12. 12.
So 24 for the 2 of those.
Mhm. And the scimitars cost the same.
They're 25 also. That's another
Mm.
24 for the two of them.
Mm-hmm. I think the bright purple made it a little bit easier to read. I've been trying to figure out a color that works on the screen as well. Ugh,
I
not
wish
easy
we could
though.
do fun things like highlight it or something.
Yeah.
Have borders.
Could theoretically put a shape underneath it, but that's like a whole deal. Okay, so scimitars, scimitars,
Short swords.
3 short swords. Those are 10 gold each, so 5 apiece.
2 longbows.
50 each, so a total of 50.
And 3 sets of leather armor.
All right, and those are 10 apiece, so a total of 15.
I lost track. Is that just the stuff he had?
And the chainmail is a total of hold on, I've got to actually do that math.
I wasn't taking notes on the
Should
numbers.
be 150 total, because each one's 75, right?
Yeah, I think I
So
yeah.
be the equivalent of selling 2. We get half
Yes.
cost, so it's 150.
Wait, there's 75
Wait, no,
each.
there's
so each one
75
would be
each.
37 times 3
Mhm.
is...
Oh, there's 3. So I thought there was
111.
4. Sorry, my math. I thought there was 4. Sorry.
Yeah, so 112 for the chainmail. Okay, and I will put that in the horde page for Doug for later.
240 total.
All right. Okay. Pleasure doing with business with you, says
It's so nice to meet you, Mathera and Jasker. It's lovely. Your reputation precedes you.
does it now?
Yes, I've heard lovely things. My name is Yop. I have also been known to craft an item or two at the forge.
Very good to meet you. And she shakes your hand.
I was wondering if you might have a moment to answer a question for me.
Certainly were. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I worked for a while at the forge at Baldur's Gate.
Oh, big shot. Excellent. Yes.
And before I even got there, they had crafted a very unique piece on commission from someone from Saltmarsh. But in the 10 years that I was there, no one ever came to pick it up. And so I decided that I would come and look around a little bit and see if I can't find some history on this piece. Would you mind if I showed it to you?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, maybe we might be able to help.
And if I can find it.
I saw it actually recently in our chat, but I don't really I don't know where it's at.
Right. I thought the hilt was very unusual and wondered if maybe someone had ever asked around here for something similar. I put it in Discord.
Mm-hmm. Jasper, come look at this. And the boy stops what he's doing and comes to look over, and says, "This make you think of Drover?" And he tilts his head and says, "And maybe he doesn't. There's a bit of an odd man around town. Never really leaves the house much. Ingo the Drover is what people call him, and I'm not going to pretend to understand why. But gentleman is very, very into curious items.
Sounds like someone I should definitely go talk to at some point. What did you say his name was again? Angor the Drover?
Ingo the Drover, yes.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much. It's been lovely. I'd love to come by sometime when I have a little bit more time and perhaps talk some shop.
Don't have many people who are interested except the occasional dwarf, and they're not great company, admittedly, at the forge. So, yes, any new faces are very much welcome.
Lovely. I look forward to seeing you two again and all the conversations that will ensue.
Nice to meet you, Yop. Thank you. Okay. So you guys just made a good amount of money. What next? Oh, important thing to remember. You guys have monthly dues to head office as well, which right now are 200 gold a month. Just be
Couldn't we? No, never mind. I thought we paid that out of the bounty for the first thing we did, but I just realized that we did not do that.
yes. Yeah, you have the only money that has been partitioned off as of right now has been the contracted 10%, which is not factored into your monthly 200. Okay. To the general store?
I believe so.
Where to,
Okay.
Yumi?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. Y'all are lucky that Kiara and Vakaris aren't here because they grifted him last time. Okay.
But we wouldn't know that to avoid shopping with them.
Okay. His building's clear up here. All right. Yumi, what are you looking for again?
You ping that again?
Yeah, clear up here. Shift click.
Okay. I see the name now.
Yeah.
She's looking for 2 shovels.
Are you talking like tiny hand spades or like full shovels?
Full shovels.
Didn't we already pick up shovels at some point? I feel like we did.
Someone
I
thought
have a
about it.
shovel.
But you know the hand spades ones are good too. I probably want 2 of those as well.
Okay. Give me just a second. Oh, nope, that's not it. Gotta pull up the equipment chart. Alright, you want a shovel? What else are you looking for?
I'm looking for some wooden crates just to put things in.
Okay.
20 buckets.
Are you a bucket hoarder?
Yep. And a lot of fishing line.
What the fuck is going on?
So the shovels are 2 gold apiece.
And the mini shovels are.
We'll do 1 gold. That.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Gotta remember which of the things has containers. Oh, here we go. Crates. Let's go with.
We should probably grab a half dozen extra crates to put on the keel boat. when we go to meet with the Ghost of the Sea. It would look really weird if we showed up with nothing.
That's an excellent idea.
It's really fucking smart.
Yes.
It's really fucking smart. Crates are gonna cost you 3 copper a piece because it's a fucking crate.
I'm gonna take 3 crates.
I will take 6.
You said they're 3 copper a piece, right?
hmm And for fishing line, right?
Yes.
Fishing tackle as a package is 1 gold, but if you're just going for line, let's go with a silver. Let's go with 5 silver.
How many yards is that? How long is that? Yeah.
Sounds like somebody's got real plans.
Oh yeah, somebody's got some kind of fucking plans.
Um,
I'm more suspicious of these plans than I was with the sex legend plans.
I'll say for the thing that you're doing, 5 silver a fishing line will be what you need.
Okay, I'll buy 2 of them then.
Okay.
Then
I
I'll get
decided-
twice as much.
All right. If that in that case, just add fishing tackle to your equipment,
Okay.
which apparently includes a wooden rod, silken line, corkwood bobbers, steel hooks, lead sinkers, velvet lures, and narrow netting.
And
Sounds
I
right.
still need 20 buckets.
Yeah.
This is the other reason we want to take them in last, because we're going to need them to help carry stuff around.
That'll be great. After they carry everything around. Oh, by the way, you're incarcerated.
Dashiell said he has a floating desk, right? Awesome.
20 buckets. Are these are the the little buckets I'm picturing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do 3 gold for the 20 of them.
And do you have any seeds for like herbs and stuff?
Yeah. Let's go with the based on the price of an herbalism kit, which I think is 5 gold. And I think that'll be I know that's a lot. So if you want to do rather than the kit, do herbs. We'll do half that. 2
I'll
gold, 5
just-
silver.
I'll just say 5 gold and I'll say lots of herbs. For me to plant. These are seeds. These aren't even fresh ones.
Okay. So how much leftover money do we have now?
Oh, this is my personal money. I don't know.
She's not
240.
wasting company money on this.
I meant for the potions and stuff.
I mean, if you want to buy components, now would be the time.
That's what I'm asking. If we have money to buy components for me to make potions.
How many of us are there? 5, 6?
6 total.
Plus a share for the what I would think of as group expenses would be 30 gold each, and throw the leftover into the party fund. Does that seem
Right, so throw the remainder to go towards the 200 monthly fee that we have to pay.
yeah, that would leave, if we each got 30 gold, all 6 of
Mhm.
us, that would leave 60 left over, which can go towards either the dues, which we have some time on. We've only been an employee for not even a week yet.
Right.
Mhm.
But it can also go towards things like healing potions for the group, or components thereof, or
To make 'em
whatever we
cheaper.
need. Yeah.
Yop votes yay.
Okay, so
Zeshul
that was
also votes yay.
okay. So that was 30 to every person, and that left how much left over?
60.
60. Okay.
It's probably possible for us to do a different split, like 32 or 35 or something like that. I just went with round numbers.
Yeah, that sounds ideal.
No, that sounds good.
I just need to know how much money to put in the what accounts as the hoard gold, and then how much money to put in the other character sheets. Okay.
When that's done, I realize I need to buy one more thing.
What else do you need?
Long planks of wood, like thin planks.
Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Let's do another gold and a half.
Okay.
And whenever that point comes, where Yumi is finishing up her purchases, Yop has a short list of items that she would like to buy as well.
Certainly. What do you want?
I would like a pot of ink, an ink pen, right? And ideally a blank notebook, but depending on the price, I might just go with sheets of paper.
Okay. A book, like a bound book, blank or otherwise, is 25 gold.
Mm-hmm.
And ink, 10 gold, pen, 2 silver, or 2 copper.
Okay, I think I'm just going to go with 10 sheets of paper then instead of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what is that, like 2 gold total, I think, for the paper?
Parchment. Well, okay, so parchment, which is really cheap, is 1 silver, and then paper is 2 silver.
I'll get the better paper. I'll get 10 sheets of paper, an ink pen, and the ink bottle.
All right.
So, yeah, that's 12 gold and 2 copper, I believe.
Yeah, that's about. Yeah, that sounds right.
Fantastic.
All right. Anything else? Griner, are you gonna buy potion parts?
I mean, I don't particularly need any potions for myself, so I don't really. If the group wants me to make them out of the group fund, I can do that. I don't know if we're saving that for dues currently, or if we're doing potions right now.
We can probably do potions now if you can make it. I mean, if worst comes to worst, we can each chip in a little bit from personal funds for dues.
They are what, 25 gold for materials to make one?
Yeah,
Mhm.
for each potion I can make.
I would be fine with pulling 50 of the 60 gold out of the fund and making 2 potions for party emergencies.
We do have a lot of those lately.
I concur.
Alright, so Grindr will take the 50 gold and go to the herbalist or the mineral store if they have it, I don't know. And to go buy enough materials to make 2 potions of healing.
Yep. And as I've said before, if you have those components, you can craft them into any of the like very basic potions: the healing potion, the antitoxin, and poison. It's just up to you.
Poison's the worst thing ever existed. It is the weakest thing ever.
No, it's really bad.
So bad. I would make acid first, for sure.
I think yes, you can all. I believe you can also. Yeah, it's acid. That's
Yeah,
and I
acid.
think alchemists. Can you make?
I can make alchemist fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't have any use for it.
No, it's. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'm just saying. I'm reminding you that once you have those components before, like, similarly to the brewing for alcohol, just tell me like the value of the things that you're purchasing, and then you can craft them at your own leisure into more or less whatever you want, depending on how much you spent on it. Okay. Any more shopping?
That's it for me.
All right.
Nope.
Was
Nope.
that a okay? And Griner?
Out of my personal funds, I would like to. I'm just gonna buy it piecemeal because I don't think I'm gonna have 750 gold formula anytime soon. So I'm gonna spend 30 gold on my armor.
Okay.
Just buy I don't know, stuff to make pauldrons out of.
Okay. I'm cool if you keep record of how much you're spending incrementally. And then when you get to that point, you can just go do the crafting.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, I'm gonna need carpenters and painters too.
And painters? What the fuck are you doing?
She's doing a full ass craft project. like
Oh
he's
my
just...
god, she's fucking. Oh my lord, it's crazy.
But also, I
She's
want to
living
paint.
the dream.
Like D&D, I think you mean digital art for nerds.
No, I want to paint our ship like turtle shells on our boat.
Oh,
Well,
That's fucking cute.
it is,
I'm just not very good.
but
at
also, holy fuck.
Carpenter's tools, 8 gold. That's so goddamn cheap. Painter's tools, 10 gold. That's actually really cheap too.
Okay.
Bullshit.
Not everything is $1 billion.
Well, I know, but the brewer's supplies is 20. The glass blowers is 30.
Don't worry.
Oh, and a
Mine were
crowbar.
50, weren't
I
they?
don't know who's
Yeah,
buying
yeah.
a crowbar.
Like alchemists and tinkerers are both 50, which I understand why they are, but goddamn, they're so expensive. Meanwhile, you have weavers and woodcarvers, which are 1 gold apiece. Fuck me.
I mean, woodcarver's tool is basically just a couple different specifically shaped knives.
Yeah, it's for
I mean,
it's
also adds
fancy
in
whittling.
Yeah.
Who's buying the crowbar? Because that's not me. I spent way too much money already. Also, I don't have strength to use a crowbar.
Fine, I'll buy a fucking crowbar.
It's 2 gold.
Fuck, what? For a piece of metal?
For a crowbar, a very useful and possibly dangerous tool? Yes.
It's still a fucking just chunk of unhardened metal, but okay.
I'm aware, but I don't make the rules.
You do make the rule.
I'm reading off the page.
It's fucking. Oh, Lord.
it also occurs to me, Yop will probably look around the shop with no expectation of finding a set of thieves' tools for sale. My guess is I've got to find some other more nefarious location to make that purchase, but she'll look anyway.
I think that's probably accurate.
I can't imagine, just in a normal general store, there's a nice package thieves' tools.
Yeah.
Here are locks, and here
Right.
are not locks.
Right,
Here is the not lock magic trademark.
right.
I mean, to be fair,
know
at
that.
Walmart you can probably go and. I mean, fuck, my
Put
sister
it together, yeah.
for Christmas got lock picking tools and a lock that is designed to let
Those-
you see how you're picking a lock, so you can practice and see what you're doing.
Yeah, those are cool.
Mm-hmm. She is 14 and gonna be a menace.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
No, she's a charmer like me. She doesn't need to break into anything if she doesn't want
Right.
to.
Right, but sometimes you just want to.
So,
No,
sometimes you want to. I mean, fuck. I still break into things.
The FBI would like to know your location.
Yeah, the charm is for you to get away from it afterwards and not get in trouble.
I'm similar to that. Sometimes I just break things.
Break into? No, just break. Full stop. Yeah, I've done that.
the amount of times I have had to in some fashion, figure out a way to not even like break in, but like finagle a window to crawl through the window. So you're not, because the door's locked or whatever. And the amount of times I have been seen doing it from the road.
Right.
I don't know. It looks like breaking and entering.
One of my favorites was, I learned all of these skills from my whack job father. We used to work at a scout camp that the space that we used to live in was in the top story, which was only accessible from an outdoor stairwell. And the door was locked. We had no access to a key. The only way to get in was through the window that was hanging off the side of the stairwell. So had to hang my father from the side of the stairwell so he could open the window and feed one of us through it to open the door from the inside.
Nice.
It looks like breaking and entering.
Not only that, but it is still, good. And because that building was on stilts, good 40 plus feet off the
I
ground.
was gonna say.
Oh
looks
yeah,
like-
child
right.
endangerment
Yeah,
too.
there we
Tack
go.
that one on there. Perfect.
Good times, good times, good times.
I was gonna say, don't forget fun. Also looks like that.
I don't know if I'd call it fun.
I mean, I was admittedly scared, so I was watching everyone else do it. But I also have a fear of heights, so.
I don't think anyone would blame you after that story. Yeah, so I watched my dad dangle one of my siblings off of the fucking side of a 40-foot drop just to open a window.
But nobody even got hurt. Like,
You don't need to get hurt for it to be terrifying.
no, you're right. Okay. Ted, you here?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, fellas, what are you doing next?
I think we've got some
Question.
bad news to break to our 2 new employees.
To be fair, this was their suggestion. I was perfectly fine with, let's not worry about it.
I don't technically speaking, we're like, criminals. Here's all the information you need to know. Like, they didn't know. They weren't gonna come knock on our door. Currently.
Well, maybe not your door, but maybe their own door.
True.
That was their main concern, was them essentially having to get arrested at home or even at work. Like, the possibility of them getting arrested was enough for them to want to figure out how to do this the right way. Anyway, bad news to break.
Right.
Do you guys head back down to the docks then, or is there other last minute things you'd like to do first?
I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I'm done.
Perfect. Okay, down at the docks with Micah and Toby, who are just tending to the boat. And when you approach, they just ask, "Are you guys ready to go back?"
We must have a quick discussion first. Pertinent to our earlier conversation, where you were concerned about your former colleagues narking, snitching.
Uh-huh.
We had a discussion with Firebrand, as we suggested we would. And per your own suggestion, if you are interested in turning yourself in between the assistance that we can provide, the information you have already provided to us, and what's the word I'm looking for here? In light of essentially the relative light severity of your crimes, if you are still interested in turning yourself in and essentially dealing with the legal ramifications of your former employment now. We have worked out a deal with Eleander Firebrand. He will house you in his estate this evening so that you can, in the morning, essentially turn yourself in. We worked it out that you would not be kept at the lockup that Craddock is running, the same one where the items were stolen from, just in case there was anyone there who might want to see you harmed so that you could not testify. The choice is yours. If you'd rather deal with this now, we are prepared to take you by your families, make sure your families are aware of the situation and are cared for while you are gone. And as I said, we are, of course, happy to provide any sort of legal advice and legal counsel that we are able to do.
They look at each other and have that puzzled, confused, worried, scared expression. and then say, and Toby says, if we turn ourselves in, do you think we stand okay? Do you think that we have good odds of staying out of jail if we don't turn ourselves in? Or should we actually do that and for sure deal with the consequences?
We should have this conversation somewhere not so public. It will depend exactly on the severity of any provable crimes that you may have committed while working with your former group. Do you have the copies of your contract with Acquisitions Incorporated? He seemed to think that having proof of your new gainful employment with our franchise would go a long way to legitimizing and reducing your sentence.
Let's say to make it easier, yes, they do.
Okay. I figured they might since they just signed them today and haven't had a chance to go home or anything, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that checks out.
make sure you keep those with you. Firebrand will want to see them, or whatever council members you go in front of. Unfortunately, we are unable to directly intervene in the courtroom. The laws here are very strange.
Yeah, they nod there. They acknowledge it. They know. And I'm actually going to I'm actually going to make a handout with the specifications of the local law enforcement as far as like what is defined as petty, minor, and major crime. I'm working on that right now for you, so you guys can be more aware. Okay, they say, I don't think we have a lot of choice then. It's either hope that we don't get arrested or get arrested and maybe it's not so bad. Right?
Pretty much. The other option would be to stay in the lighthouse, which I believe is outside the actual legal jurisdiction of
Yes, but what about their family?
Saltmarsh. But yes,
And
your
also that
families would be
might
stuck.
put us in the whole
Direct
organization
conflict
in
with.
bad
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
with the government.
It is technically, however, an option. I have not worked. Well, we had a brief, not real work relationship with San Valette, and it was betrayed within, 2 days? So it basically comes down to how much do you trust them not to narc you out. You'll forgive me, I would not trust them very far on that.
They both nod. That's kind of what we were worried about. Okay, if that's what we've got to do, we should probably go home real quick and at least say goodbye to our families for at very least the night, and a good chance of for a while. So,
Again, I don't know exactly what the extent of your infractions are. If you think that there might be crimes there that are severe, then, it's sort of up to you. It's up to you either way. But if your crimes are light and rank only petty, then I think that this is something that is easier to deal with now instead of later.
yeah, okay, yeah. Let's do that. And realistically, if it's worse, if it gets worse, we might be able to play for essentially paroled work service. And if we do that, then we might actually get to see our families still. So let's try to do this the best that we can, the right way. And they climb up onto the dock and shake each of your hands and say, you said Firebrand's estate, right?
Yes, we will accompany you. I have concerns that I need to speak to Firebrand about one more time.
Okay. They take you around town to their separate homes and explain to their relative partners the situation the best that they can express, which is upsetting and uncomfortable to witness. And then
Is completely unfazed by any of it. That's Swanty, man.
And then they are as ready as they can be for dealing with this situation.
If you would like, we can check in on your families until such time as you're able to return to them.
That would be great. Cause it like you saw, it's shit work out here.
Absolutely.
So just at some point, it certainly isn't critical now, but at some point we'll just pick some spots where their families are so we know where to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
No.
Fuck, we can even hand wave it and just say like, I go to Micah's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Okay.
No, that's the wrong door. You've just hung off a ledge and swung into a window that is not Micah's house. You're now a petty criminal. Congratulations.
Okay.
I'll have you know that my crimes are not petty.
Uh-oh.
Y'all have murdered. Okay.
With cause. But,
Okay, so is there anything specific you'd like to do for the rest of the day before your theoretical appointed time to be meeting with Eleander?
I don't believe so. I think it's time to pay the piper, so to speak.
Okay. So you do. The Eleander estate, very nice, very lovely, well maintained, and pretty utilitarian in design, with an iron gate that is swung open. And the door is answered by a servant who retrieves Eleander, who is still in his clothes, and he says, "I assume these two," and he gestures to the two in the back, and the both of them nod. And he invites you all inside, and leaves the rest of you in a sitting room, a pleasant sitting room for a minute, while he escorts the two of them to two separate guest rooms, and
Before he
then
takes them away, I would like to briefly lean in and discuss with both of them.
'Kay.
This evening, you will hear a voice in your head that is mine. I will check on you, and you will be able to respond to me. If something is wrong, let me know.
this makes them a little bit more nervous, but they nod in and they understand.
Splendid. Good luck, gentlemen.
God.
And then after they've been escorted away, Eleander returns and says, "Thank you for doing as I and the law and the king would all agree to be the right thing."
Of course. We
We
would not
hope to
want our
have
new
a-
franchise to run afoul of His Majesty's finest.
We hope to have a long and fruitful relationship.
As do I. You've all proven to be very, not only intuitive, but very hardworking and astute. So I've appreciated your efforts very much.
It's our pleasure.
Is there any other assistance I can offer you at this evening?
Hmm.
Not this evening, but do you think you could keep us up to date on how long they'll have to be in custody? So if anything, we can drop off provisions for their family.
Also, if you can tell me when they're when they go before the council. I know I can't be in there providing assistance, but I would like to attend at the very least. Attend the building, not the actual trial, which I am aware I am not allowed to do.
Naturally. And if it helps, there is an available audience. There's an allowed audience space, though very few people choose to attend, and very quickly, if there is disruption, it is very swiftly handled. But they're not disallowed assistance, and if they as are cooperative as you say they ought to be, not only do I have faith that their sentencing will be light, but my estate should be more than capable of assisting their families as necessary.
Oh, how lovely.
I'm a very wealthy and bored gentleman.
Yes, you have a beautiful home.
Thank you. But that should not be without my capabilities. If they are as helpful as I would hope that they could be. Might I offer you anything else this evening?
I just have one more thing, one quick question. Are you familiar with the citizen named Igno the Drover?
That I am. A fellow of mine. Gotta look him up again. He he and I have known each other for a very, very, very long time.
Really? How interesting.
Yes, he's a very polite gentleman. Difficultly neutral, but pleasant and good company, and eccentric and one of the wealthiest men in the city. I believe he's actually, he might actually, if I recall correctly, his estate might be in some vague peril, but it's been a while since he and I have gotten together.
Hmm. Do you know where I might find him?
Actually, yes, he lives on the opposite side of town, not far from the Leap, which is, the cliffs over here. And his house is actually right here.
Okay.
It's impossible to miss. It is a very large building and very well guarded and not very often visited.
Well, thank you very much. I should pay him a visit, and I will certainly let you know if I find out that he is in any peril.
Yes, I should like to know. He is a true that if he were actually in real financial trouble,
Hmm.
he would wish not to speak of it. But I do happen to know that one of his prize vessels did not return as it had been planned to, and he may have lost a healthy sum on that particular voyage.
Oh no!
His family was worth millions some generations ago, and as money does, it pitters away, and that particular vessel may have been the squandering of the last of his wealth.
Well, I certainly hope that that is not the case, but I will see if I find any information about that. I will certainly share it with you.
I would love to know. He is not one for talking about it.
Understood. Thank you so much for the information. It's very helpful.
Rest of you, any other services I can offer you this?
Not that I can think of at this time. Thank you, though.
No, I don't think so.
Thank
All
you
right.
for taking care of our employees.
I do my best. I'm a man of the law, but I'm also a man of my own honor.
And what a lovely thing that is.
All right.
Toodaloo!
All right. What happens next? Sounds like Zashel wants to either message or other form of spell thing.
Message, but that'll be in a couple hours, I guess.
Okay. It is getting on in the evening, getting closer to dusk. And is there... Did you guys want to actually stay in town for the night, or what?
If you all would like to take the keelboat back, I'm going to stay in town. Just to be here should something... Should they need assistance.
Well, I don't think it would be wise to leave you here by yourself. So, I think we can stay. Yumi, would you be
Sure.
comfortable leaving the large number of supplies that you purchased
Wait,
on the turtle shell?
Can I stay on the turtle shell in the dock?
I believe
Instead
there
of
are
in an
2
inn?
beds in the tortoiseshell's cabin, so...
There is. The docks are patrolled, so they're not necessarily unsafe. I will also remind you, you guys have a bag of holding.
Oh yes, but I mean,
We do? Wait, hold the fuck up.
Yeah.
Vicaris has one, yes.
we do. But
Oh,
if
I
I'm
forgot
gonna
he got
start,
one. Okay.
my arts and craft project, I'm gonna do it on the boat. So I could just take it off the boat when we get there.
There's also the factor of fitting some of those objects through the actual opening of the bag.
Yes, there's also that.
I would suggest that we leave 2 people on the boat and 2 people at the inn so that no one is left alone.
Oh, I do have a question. Where is the inn on this map? We didn't label it before.
So there are 3 inns,
And
and
that's the one we
and
need to go to.
the empty net is this one that overhangs the outlet or the inlet, of the river.
So that's not that bad from Firebrand's estate anyway.
It's actually nope. It's definitely not the closest one of the 3, but it's very close.
It's our preferred one because everything else is not in our taste, I think.
You have been staying at the Dump tavern.
Yeah.
I don't think any of you even gone to the other 2.
Not yet.
Cool.
I'm trying to remember, and I'm sure I'll regret this. Can you ping?
The other
My-
thing?
Yeah.
Yep. It's this house.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
That's not.
Oh, and where's the turtle shell exactly among these docks?
Let's put it right here.
Okay.
Okay, so so it sounds like we've got Zashel to the empty net, Yumi to the turtle shell, and everyone else. Reinar, where are you choosing to spend the night?
I think Griner will just go to the tavern.
And upon seeing that, Yop will accompany Yumi back to the turtle shell or tortoise shell or whatever the name of it is.
I have down turtle shell, but it's your guys' boat. You can name it whatever the hell you want.
I sort of like until we actually paint a name on it. I sort of like mixing it up.
I
Well,
have painter's
sounds good.
tool, so we can
Yeah, right. It sounds like we've got another craft project, Yumi.
Okay. Let's have Yumi roll skill checks based on the tools that she has acquired. Let's see. You wanted to do. Are you using the carpenter's tools this evening, or are you just painting today?
I think I'm just painting today. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to paint everything. Are we the turtle shell or the tortoise shell before she paints on the wrong name?
Paint whatever on there you want, and the rest of us will adjust accordingly.
She's
Paint
gonna
whatever
look at
you
Yop.
want, and the other thing will be and the other thing will end up being what it actually is.
Exactly. Because it's funnier that way.
All right. What skill would I be rolling for that?
For paint, I will let you use Dex.
Okay.
Oh no.
It is very
Better.
sloppy.
Better now. No,
I'm just
not
painting
great.
on
That
the
doesn't
name.
include your proficiency bonus.
Well, she doesn't have proficiency in the tools. She just purchased the tools.
I'm not proficient in these tools. I just want them to do arts and crafts. Those ugly arts and crafts.
That's fair.
I messed up. I spelled turtle wrong. It's now turtle. It's the turtle shell.
Nice.
As if that's worse.
Ah, that's good. That's good. I'm changing my notes. Great. And is there any other things that the two of you are doing on the boat? And this can be a couple of different things. You could be looking for dock rumors. You could be talking with each other. You could be working on spell type magic things. Anything specific you're looking to do?
I will ask around the docks about information both about the Scarlet or Red Brotherhood, and also very timidly asking about where one can purchase thieves' tools.
So Yop's gonna get shanked on the wharf.
Yop's looking. I mean, I understand that Yop understands that the docks are a pretty reputable location, right? So she's not going to be asking just anyone. But if she notices anyone that she thinks is a nefarious individual or strikes her that way, you know, she is certainly going to
gonna get struck.
inquire,
That's sure.
right, about you know, whether or not there's she'll probably start with, you know, whether or not there's any goods that come in through these docks that aren't, you know, on the books or aren't, you know, or how reputable the docks are. And depending on the answers to those questions, she'll work her way up to, you know, if it seems like the person's asking like questions like, oh well, what are you looking for, how you know, we something can be worked out, that sort of thing, then she'll end up saying like, oh yeah, like I need some thieves tools.
Yes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you start with an insight check to figure out the kind, like, see if you can
Fantastic.
pinpoint the right kind of person.
Right, and
All on board for Yop asking a city guard.
right. Oh, it's likely. I will give myself guidance because Yop is nervous doing this. She's a good girl.
Phrasing.
I said what I said.
I said what I said and I stick by it.
I mean, an 18 is still, like, 17 is even good, but an 18 is absolutely sufficient to find. I think what happens is more or less you're in some way directed towards the Mariners Guild Hall,
Mhm.
which isn't far. I think it's this building.
That's too far. Yop just makes a mental note of it and abandons that
Okay.
process. We'll undergo that later, and
It's also not that direction. It's actually not. It's actually this building, clear up here.
oh yeah, no, she's out of that. And then other than that, just genuine like, no, anybody heard of this Scarlet Brotherhood thing?
Yeah. Now I'd like you to make a charisma check.
This is gonna be good.
And I
Now
think it has to. Oh, I'm trying to decide if it should be persuasion. No, I think this is just based on your general congeniality.
Okay. And this she's not nervous about because she doesn't think it's anything wrong, so she will not think to give herself guidance on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Not bad. So you're being a little suspect. Maybe asking a few too many people.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And maybe having started with questions regarding trying to gauge whether or not I can ask for thieves' tools without getting arrested.
yes. But someone actually just someone actually, what's your passive wisdom? Your passive perception?
13.
Okay. Someone, as you're walking down the roads and looking for someone else to maybe converse with,
Mhm.
lightly bumps into you, and there is a weight dropped into your apron pocket, and then that person is gone.
Okay. I will move to some location where I am comfortable that no casual observers can oversee what I'm about to pull out of my pocket and assume has, and hope has some note or something wrapped around it?
First of all, it is actually a set of lockpicks.
Deck save.
Nice.
And and then there is also a note
Hmm.
that that just reads Crabber's Grove.
Great. Fantastic. Just for my own inventory, should I just put down lockpicks or just thieves' tools?
Thieves' tools.
Okay, fantastic.
You're not. Yeah, I'm not gonna make that.
Not
Okay.
proficient with those.
What's that?
Is Yop proficient with those?
Yop is proficient with those.
Nice.
Yeah. So upon reading the note and being a bit giddy about getting her hands on thieves' tools without having to ask any more questions that induce a sweat, she will run back to what she thought was the turtle shell. And upon her return, seeing that it's the turtle shell, she will be quite happy. Yumi! Yumi!
Yumi will wave from the deck as she is putting together some makeshift wooden plank things, which I'll put in the chat.
You've done a wonderful job. I love the paint job on the ship, and I love the name. It's so nice. Thank you.
My hand
and-
kind of slipped and I spelled turtle wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it's lovely. I like it very much. It's much more unique. I would love to help you with some of your crafts, but if you could join me on the ship for just a moment, I have some information to share that I don't want to share with any prying ears, perhaps.
Oh, sure. I mean, she's currently on the ship building this.
Oh, excellent. Listen, I know you're from here, right? And I know that, based on our previous conversation, you're not quite as forthcoming as some of the other members of our little franchise. But I have some information that literally fell into my lap about the Scarlet Brotherhood, and it's just this note.
And I'll hand it to her.
Oh, do I recognize the name?
Yes, for two reasons. One, this is a region of the town you used to live. And two, it's actually pretty well known by residents. It's an area of town that some years ago was completely abandoned, and it was mostly because there was like a couple people were just kind of leaving or moving out, or things were happening there that kind of pushed people away from that region. And then it started getting, and then when people started moving out, the crabs started moving in, and now it's infested with crabs, to a point where there have been rumors and stories of people trying to go in, even as like crabbers have gone in hunting for crab, or even just to see what maybe people have left behind in the houses that are now just overrun with crabs and have never been seen again. And it is the far eastern region out here. That's the wrong button. Come on, computer. Oh, I'm in the wrong fucking tool, that's why. Clear out here. That region.
Okay, so near what's his face's house almost.
Mhm.
You know the drover.
Mm-hmm. But when you lived there, Yumi, that would not have been. It would not have been called Crabber's Grove. Crabber's Grove at that point. It was just the eastern end of town, and it got its name after after you had moved, basically.
Um, is it where the boxes are? Or is it the field next to the boxes?
It's these houses. So yeah, you're on. That's yeah.
I will let Yap know that. And also comments on good investigation work.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's certainly something that we should investigate further, and perhaps when I stop by Ignat the Drover's place to check in on him, right, we can take a little peek and see what's going on up there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe
Now,
tomorrow?
perhaps no hurry. Now, how can I help with this craft project you've got going on?
Well, I think I only have one hammer in this kit for this.
Okay, well, perhaps, I can just hold something in place while you're hammering.
Yeah, that would be good.
I don't think it's,
Are
even
you
with my
good at
tinkering skill, I don't think it's best if I hammer. I don't seem to be very good with the mace yet.
If you're good at painting, you can paint the ship. I was hoping you'd make it a little prettier.
I'm an excellent painter. Is there any design you would like in particular?
Probably a turtle shell.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I like it.
Show hand the painter's kit over to Yap.
And I will get right to it, but not before I give myself some guidance, because despite her enthusiasm, Yap is not an excellent painter.
Oh, maybe like
I was like, are you just gonna believe her like that?
maybe it's like a school of turtles. It doesn't have to be like the whole ship is one giant turtle, but yeah, just
Oh,
little
okay.
The whole
nautical.
ship should be a whole turret.
Should it?
Yeah, I think that's the dopest.
Holy
Okay.
shit!
I think the whole ship is a
I
turtle
think
now.
she got it. I think we're good.
Yeah, the whole ship's a turtle now. Check it out.
Fucking nailed it.
Fucking got him.
I'm gonna say we're out of green paint after that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, you saw the colors for other things, but yeah, we're out of green.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Any last minute things for the two ladies?
I'm all good.
I think that's all. I'm just making more of these wooden frame things.
I love how cryptic you're being with this. Okay, Zashel and Greinar. I'm gonna start with Griner because I know we haven't done a lot of combat lately, but because that's because you guys split, I don't know that I'm gonna do much of that for tonight. But Yop's prying may promise some combat for next session. What's Greinar doing at the empty net?
Greinar is, I think. How long has it been since we actually got into a fight? That was yesterday, wasn't it? Or was that today?
This morning.
Wait, this morning?
You this morning you wrestled a guy to the ground.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a fight though. Kind of just
No.
ruffle stomp that guy. Yeah, I'll pick a fight with somebody.
Okay, cool. Let's do intimidation again. I think that was a smart way to do it. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't want to do like full combat with you just because it's not really fair to everybody else. But let's do 5 contested strength like athletics checks, and it'll be like the best of the 5 is the winner for that fight. How does that sound?
Okay. I'm assuming I'm probably not fighting someone who's as skilled as I am in also both athletics and that I have both tavern brawler and unarmed fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
do I have advantage, or what are we doing?
You're just gonna have better modifiers than this person is really.
Alright.
Like that's just how it would be, even as it stood within the game anyway. So this person being unarmed doesn't have the same checks as you do. Like, if actually, let's, instead of contested checks, let's just do attacks. Do 5. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And okay. So we've got 11 versus a 19, a 22 versus a 5, 12 versus an 18, 13 versus a 2, and an 18 versus a 17. All right. That puts you at the winner, but you have gotten. There were a couple of really solid swings, and maybe a couple of low blows that probably ended up fucking you up just a little bit, but not enough in any way to not in any way to impair you. Just a way to get the blood going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the grinder gets punched a couple times, punches the guy, gives him a good uppercut, and then grabs him by the front of his by the back of his shirt, and slams him into a wall, and then grabs the back of his shirt and his belt and tosses him in the water.
All right.
With a big roar, goes to claim his drinks.
Okay. Anything else that you are doing in the evening?
Are there any elves here of the female variety?
Elves? Is that what you said?
Yes.
There are not.
Then no.
Okay. Zashel, what are you doing?
Before it gets too late, and after Grynar has finished his fights, I would like to not really sneak past Firebrand's place, but just walk down the street.
Uh-huh.
Like you said, I'm going to message both Toby and Micah, make sure everything is okay.
Okay.
Grynar, if you don't mind, if you're still
Well,
you're feeling okay after that fight, I would prefer not to do this trip alone. Just in case.
Oh, of course not. I would never let you go. Grynar stands up, rolls his shoulders, and activates second wind, and he's good to go.
I don't expect trouble, but...
Oh, of course.
All right. You guys are starting to wander around the streets. It's getting, like I said, it's dark now, but it's not late. And there are more patrols at night, you notice, than there are during the day. Not infringing in any way, or and there's the occasional glance in your direction because you two are going to stand out in comparison to the typical populace. But no one bothers you. And outside the Firebrand estate, your pace slows a little bit to kind of accommodate the small magic that you're going to be performing. And what do you say?
I guess I'll start, because I have to do them individually. I will start with Micah. And just, Micah, this is Ashel. Is everything okay in there?
Yeah, fine. Just weird and worried, but everything's fine. Got brought dinner, and uh, I can like leave the room like for a little bit, but I'm supposed to stay in the one side of the house. But I'm fine. Yeah.
I will cast again and say, excellent. I will message you again in the morning. I should be there at your trial? Is it
Mhm.
even a trial? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I will message Toby.
Mm-hmm. Should make a handout with these guys, apparently.
Or I should just write down their names, but
Then I have to find it in my notes.
Toby, Zashel, Micah says everything's fine. Where in the house are you?
North wing. We're 2 rooms apart from each other. I haven't bumped into them. There's a servant outside who makes sure we're not leaving, like, to go anywhere, like, outside the wing of the house.
Excellent. If all is well, I will message you again and see you in the morning for your trial.
Okay. Alright, anything
Thank you.
else?
Thank you, Grainar. If you could just actually, once we get back to the empty net, I will, since I don't have Quetzal with me, I will go ahead and peer through his eyes to make sure everything at the lighthouse is okay. And after that's done,
Do you have the range for that?
there is actually no range on that. The telepathic range, the range to communicate with him telepathically is 100 feet.
So
Mhm.
he can see through his eyes, but he can't direct him while he's outside of the ring.
I can't
Yeah.
tell him to do anything. I can just see what he sees
Yes.
and hear
okay.
what he hears.
So you're just peering around the house?
Yeah, I'm just making sure everything's okay.
Quetzal is in the kitchen, and is sitting in one of the chairs. He's actually in the dining room, sitting in one of the chairs, and everyone except the major is having dinner at the dining table. And there's just kind of the polite conversation, mostly in some fashion being forced upon everyone else by Abernathy. Um, but as per your experience with them, Sunny and Missy are mostly staying quiet and just enjoying the the atmosphere, the space, and keeping to themselves.
Well, Grainar, as far as I'm well aware, everything at the lighthouse is fine. Our new employees seem to be fine, so I suppose today is a
shame.
win overall.
Yeah, of course. Grainar looks a little bit sad that something didn't go wrong. He didn't get to punch anybody. But just a little bit.
I get the feeling that there's plenty of that coming. I don't entirely trust Firebrand. I feel like his willingness to step forward for an outside entity such as our franchise and 2 individuals who, until this morning, were on the far side of the law is unusual.
Perhaps, but it seems his intentions are noble. I don't think he particularly has any. He seems wealthy enough to not need to have any relations with criminals, and also does not seem greedy enough to want more and such to warrant needing to interact with criminals.
I don't know. It is very much the condition of living creatures to always want more.
Grindar nods and
Just-
says, "Fair point."
We'll see. Perhaps he's as good as his word.
Okay. Anything else that you two do during the night or the evening?
Not for me.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So the two of you don't forget to pay for your rooms.
Which is what? How much again?
Was it
Like a couple silver, I
2
think.
silver? I think.
Really breaking the bank over here. Why can I? Okay. My sheet broke and I can't see the bottom of it for some reason. Alright, there we go.
Oh, I hate when that happens. Zashel, when you go to sleep, there is a familiar presence that kind of in your resting physical form, you still can sense the like light prying of something invading your senses, and you have a dream that is of an open field with yellow grass and a pink sky and blue clouds and bright stars, and from behind you is the voice, a very familiar voice, that says, "And how are you doing?" And it makes you start and turn, and it's a familiar figure, a woman that you recognize, and she's smiling, and she's wearing a blue gown, and she has her hands clasped in front of her, and she looks tired. And
I-
you can respond.
I could be better. I messed up pretty badly, and a couple people got hurt. How are you? You seem exhausted.
It's difficult work doing what I'm doing, but it'll be all right. I have someone very helpful who's doing quite a bit of legwork for me. And she smiles. I'm sorry that you feel as if there might be some shortcoming on your part. Would you tell me about it?
And I will basically just go over
Mhm.
the events of getting the lighthouse attacked. I didn't get past what was immediately in front of me. And you and I are familiar with how that's affected my life before, so I thought I was more careful.
She nods and blinks very slowly and says, "It's all right to make mistakes. This is not, I don't see in any way, a hindrance yet to what I've asked of you. And if we are to do the thing that I need the two of us to do, patience is key. And the longer it takes us to accomplish this goal, accomplish this quest for myself, the longer I get to stay with you, so I don't mind. But if you need help, I am here and I can help. I can offer you advice. And if you are worried about your home, again, you have home with me."
I know. I know. I take solace in that, but at the same time, I don't want to risk you. I know that sounds bizarre, but I let men into one home already. There were plenty of people there to defend it, and not enough. So I know your powers are fading, and I don't know how much time, and I don't know if you do, or if you would even tell me if you did, but it's easiest to just make sure you don't have to use them.
You're very sweet. Now, I have some direction for you. I know of creatures that are to the west that need help. But it may be some time yet before you and your friends are going to be able to help them. Oh, I say west. I apologize. The east. I might actually have to double check the map. Give me 1 second. I think I actually got that right the first time. I think it is actually the west. Yes, it is. It's the west.
Overthinking be like.
And take caution, because there are many things within this that could hurt you and your friends. I am trying my best to avoid them myself, but be careful, even in the town. Do you understand?
I think so.
All right. Sleep well, and I'll talk to you later. And the dream darkens, but not in any sinister way. It feels like the warmth of falling to sleep, and then you rest comfortably for the rest of the evening. Okay. I guess that means we've got 15 minutes left. So is there a morning thing to be doing, prep you'd like to be doing to get you guys ready to track down the Ghost of the Sea? You want to also talk with Micah and Toby before whatever thing is happening with them that you have limited influence over. So let's try to move through those things quickly so that we can maybe for next session actually like get some more adventure stuff happening. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Zashel, things you want to do in the morning?
The only thing I need to really do is check in on Toby and Micah, make sure everything went okay, survive the night, all that jazz, and then that's it.
Okay.
Find out what time they're going on trial.
Well, yeah, I mean, any information they can give me to help them is
They say that they're not going. They say that Eleander stopped by, let them know that he's getting everything presented to go to the council today, and he will tell them in the evening when their court date is, and that they are safe and comfortable where they are.
Okay.
You do notice though that there are guards posted outside the house. Okay. Greinar, what are you doing in the morning?
So at the tavern, Griner is going to go visit his storefront at the forge,
Okay.
and he's going to start work on the armor with the pieces he bought.
Okay. Let's see. That's a common item, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have you do the check once you've got all of the material together. Does that work?
Yeah. It's just he's working on it. He's just
Mhm.
stuff.
Yep. Just wondering if we're going to take multiple checks, I would have had you do one now, but it's only a common item, so I think it's just the one. Okay. Yop, what are you doing?
Yop is just going to check in with Yumi and see how much work, if any, needs to be completed on the craft projects. Offer any assistance with those if any is needed, and whenever we're complete, suggest we head over to the empty net.
Yumi is pretty much done with what can be done on the ship. Everything else needs to be done at the lighthouse, so she'll let you know that. Yeah. Anything that I can do here is pretty much done. I don't want to do anything else before we get to the lighthouse. Just
I
more work.
understand. Perhaps we should meet up with Greinar and Zashel.
Sure. Before we do that, I would like to check the weather for the next 24 hours
With Druidcraft?
with Druidcraft, yes.
Let's see. The rain has stopped. There's still some clouds. And for 24 hours, you're actually looking at lightly cloudy. More sun than usual. It might be a little bit warmer than it's been. Which has some ups and downs because it also gets pretty fucking humid out here.
Okay. I assume it's like a little glowy ball in my hand that shifts from sun to cloud to wind. And the swirls around
Nice.
in my hand.
That's fucking adorable.
Like the next 24 hours, yep.
I've never even thought about how that part of that spell would manifest, and I love that.
I mean, it looks like it won't be storming tomorrow. Or maybe today.
Oh, lovely.
All right.
Nothing like a nice sunny day.
Yep. Maybe we can go check out some crabs later.
Mmm,
Yeah, we'll go
crabs.
meet everyone at the empty net.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll say that even with Greinar working, let's say maybe he even got up like early, so that let's just make sure everyone is here at a decent time in the morning. 11-ish, 10, 11. Okay, the four of you, what are you doing? What are your plans? I believe we actually ran into the same situation last week where you thought maybe we shouldn't plan about what to do about the Ghost of the Sea because not everyone was here. and it has occurred to me that we're in that same spot. So
Is it coming tomorrow or the day after?
today or tomorrow.
Today or tomorrow?
Mhm.
Then we probably want to go back to
Um,
the haunted mansion. Although we should probably get the rest of the party.
yeah, we need to gather everyone, and then we need to camp out there. Take the ship down there and camp out there tonight.
Should we split up and have some people hang out at the manor keeping watch and the others go get the rest of the party?
What?
How are we gonna do all this?
Well, we'll need at least probably 2 people to go back to the tower to gather everyone and get the ship set up to look like it actually has the stuff on it that it's supposed to have. And the rest of us can go clear out the manor house, make sure it's still clear and set up for when they show up tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, we
So-
have the boat and we have empty crates with us. So the boat we can get set up. It's mostly just getting. the
Now I need to
people
go
we
pick
need.
people up still.
Although we could. Well, I guess we don't have a way to message them. Is this
Um,
Don't we have a sending stone?
the other thing,
Kiara has it.
the other
She's
thing
the one we're trying to
is,
contact.
what are we gonna put in the crates? Because they're just currently empty crates.
We don't really need to put anything in.
Can we put rocks in them? Something to make them seem heavy? You know, this
We
is just not
could.
an empty crate.
Some of them were supposed to be brandy, the crates or the casks. We could just fill them with water or whatever, just to give them weight and slosh.
Well, a cask is different than a crate. A crate, I think, it's not as secure to
yes.
hold water.
The crates, I mean, we could purchase some cheap cloths. I mean, are we going to go through with the deal, or are we just going to try to claim the ship when they get here?
We don't know how big their ship is and if we can take all of them.
Valid point.
And if we're buying some time, maybe having fake goods or fake crates of goods might be.
That sounds like a lot of extra work for when we could just punch them in the mouth.
You
Yeah,
don't
but
even know how
she's
big
right.
their
We may
ship
not be
is.
able to just punch them in the mouth.
Nonsense. There's nothing I can't punch in the mouth.
You can punch in the mouth, but we can't punch them in the mouth.
I'll shoot them in the mouth, whatever.
No, I mean,
And
you
also,
might
what if-
last longer, but some of us aren't as hardy as you are in a fight.
And
You
what
are
if-
no fun.
What if there are 40 mouths?
I'll throw 40 punches. That's the problem.
Yes, we would all be severely hurt and probably unconscious before
Anyway,
you can throw 40
Well, I
punches.
will patch you guys up. It'll be fine. I got this nice healer's kit.
we should get the others, or if we have a way to perhaps message them, Sunny can. We still have the rowboat there. Sunny could row them over here while we get the turtle shell prepared for.
Do we have a way to message them?
Unfortunately, the sending stone is on the island, and my spell has a very, very limited range.
Yeah.
So we may have to see if we can acquire some spellcasting services, or one of us will have to.
I don't
or
see
we'll
what the
have
big
to just
deal is
take
about
hold.
just having 2 people take the ship and have 2 of us go to the manor.
Because
Well,
our pilots are currently incarcerated.
I mean, managed before.
The ship is a little big for a 2-man.
and I think it's probably a good idea if we also arrange to hire some experienced deckhands for the day. I mean, if we approach the ghost of the sea in a manner that looks like we can't sail, we could have some problems.
That's a smart idea. We should hire some
In
deckhand.
retrospect, we should have arranged for Micah and, well, we may be able to speak with Firebrand.
Yeah.
Micah and Toby would have been very useful today.
Yes.
At the very least, Edda will probably, in the line of duty, would
Well,
probably give us a couple
I
of
mean,
deckhands.
I would rather hire some people rather than risk Micah and Toby possibly dying because we don't know how many mouths we have to punch. And they're not that great of fighters, and we don't want to lose our employees right away.
I love how Greinar's fucking stupid ass comment is now how we refer to how many combatants do we have? It's just how many mouths to punch.
Someone mentioned it, but I'll just refresh that Edda offered one of her own boats and her crew, with some of her crew members, to help you out if you needed.
Yeah, like I was saying, we can get Edda to supply crew for us for free. I'll have to pay for it.
Well, first, let's ask Edda if she can send her crew and her ship over to receive our other party members.
That could work.
That's a good
Oh,
idea.
we'd still
yeah.
still probably want. This is the ship they're expecting, though, correct?
Yes, but that would give us time to get it ready. Get it to the.
To get it ready, to ask Edda if she can give us some crew to pilot it. Come up with a plan. All sorts of things.
Okay, is that the way you're going?
I think so.
Mhm.
All right. To the council hall, right? Just making sure I heard that right.
Yes.
Sorry, I was reading.
No
I was
worries.
reading the stuff about the council hall just in case. Yep. And Edda is talking with Menestrad in the hall, rather casually, and waves to you when you enter, and says, "You lot are becoming mighty friendly over here, aren't you?"
Oh, friendly's in our nature.
I'm not saying I'm complaining. I really appreciate the company, but you here to take me up on my offer, maybe?
That
Indeed, we are.
Excellent. Great. One moment, Manny. And she goes and retrieves her coat and then takes you outside to the docks and shows you to one of her vessels, which is called my favorites. The Skippy Kipper. The Skippy Kipper.
Oh no, is this the one I think it is?
I don't know.
The one that like the ship was super like fucked up
Fucked
and
up?
weird.
No.
One vote you give us that. That one.
No. No. It's a it's a ship. It's a fishing vessel, so it's very well ordered for cargo specifically. And it has a crew of 5 folks who have who will have names by next session. And she says, "Bring her back in one piece, and we won't have any problems. But the captain will be doing most of the work anyway. Y'all are just passengers, so just treat it as such. And again, I trust you. If Alejandro trusts you, I trust you. So, think we might not have any problems, the lot of us. Anything else that I can offer you? Either tool, equipment, things that maybe we can send to you on lend." Nope.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
All right, excellent. And send a message as soon as you can with whatever might be coming, whatever I should be expecting from the lot of you. Be safe, I suppose, and good luck.
Thank you.
And she heads out. Cool. I'm assuming the idea would be you guys head to the lighthouse, pick up your friends, and then head by boat to the haunted house.
I think we might want to come back. I mean, this is more
Okay.
strategy stuff, so we'll figure it out. But I think we might want to come back, maybe pick up the turtle shell,
Mm-hmm.
split the crew, right? Have 2 ships,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe even try and I have no idea where what the water looks like around there, but if we can hide one in a cove or around the corner or you behind something or whatever, right? Just I think, the more potential firepower, people, whatever we have, right, could be helpful to us if we find ourselves in a real nightmare situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that's sort of what my thinking is now. If we've got access to 2 boats, right, it might not be a bad idea to, hide one in whatever part of the shore, right? We can disappear it, so to speak, and then worst comes to worst, Kiara can message them with the sending stone and have them come out and try and do some intimidation just by sheer numbers.
Worth a
Thoughts,
shot.
anybody?
No, I think that's worth a shot.
All right, so it sounds like we're going to pick up our teammates, come back and grab the turtle shell, and then see what happens.
Yeah, I am not good at strategies. I'm glad Yumi's not smart either, because, yep, strategy is not my thing. I was gonna fill the crates with dirt to make them heavy, so.
It's not a terrible
Yeah,
plan.
still,
I would
you're right. That's a good idea.
Because I
That's
bought
not
shovels.
that bad. That's why he bought shovels. That was the whole reason.
No,
That's a
I
No.
just have
Oh, okay.
shovels, so.
I was like, that is so cash money.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.